What if I told you that your fitness goals aren't the problem? The problem is that you've been trained to think that you can't figure this out on your own. My hope is that by the end of this video and the end of this video series is that you don't need another perfect plan in order to succeed. You just need to start. You just need to take control so that you can take ownership of where you want to go and finally get there. So here's the real problem. This is why you're stuck, and it's what no one's told you. Achieving your fitness goal isn't complicated, but most men feel like it is. Most men feel lost when it comes to fitness because it's not in their domain of expertise. And the only reference that they have to fitness is when they open up Instagram or go on YouTube and they see fitness influencers overcomplicating the subject matter in order to sell them courses. That's the whole thing that people don't realize about the fitness industry. If you're consuming fitness content, they're trying to sell you something, whether it's a program or coaching or supplements or some type of fitness equipment. They're trying to sell you something. And one of the ways that they try to sell you something is by overcomplicating how to achieve your goals. Because if you knew how easy it was, you would also know that you don't need all this stuff. The fitness industry thrives on what you could call tribalism. You can look at the paleo movement, the CrossFit movement, the powerlifting movement, the kettlebell movement, body weight fitness movement, all of these niche areas of fitness. These are tribes of people who believe that they've found the way to achieve their fitness goals, and the gurus in all of those niches are the bastions of knowledge. They're the ones who can discern right from wrong, the correct path versus the incorrect path, save you the most amount of time to achieving your goals, while all the other people are wasting their time with ineffective exercises or nutrition programs. Most guys have been indirectly taught to believe that they need somebody else to tell them what to do when it comes to fitness and nutrition. If fitness really requires the perfect program, then how did people get jacked before Instagram, before supplements, before all of these nonsensical exercises that you see dominating the Instagram Explore page? It's my interpretation that the fitness community and the influencers within the fitness community keep people confused, because if you think fitness is complicated, you'll always be looking for people who have the answers. But you don't need a biohacking routine. You don't need the ancestral tenets. You don't need to take cold showers in the morning. You don't need to intermittent fast. You don't need some influencer's overpriced program. What you need to do is to stop overcomplicating things and just start doing something, anything, and then build on that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Where do you start and how do you build on it? My goal with this whole video series is to give you the tools that you need to build your own program. I'm also going to give you a free program that you can download by clicking the link in the description of this video. It's completely free, but ultimately I want to get you away from those templated programs and into the mindset that will help you build your own program, so you understand all of these key principles that come together that are very easy to understand, so that you can become your own coach, become your own program designer, and ultimately build a program that meets your needs while also taking into account all the other factors that contribute to a well-rounded life, not one that just completely focuses on fitness. I can remember experiencing this very same thing with nutrition. I've experienced it with fitness as well, but one of the most glaring examples in my own life is when I had an aha moment with nutrition. So I learned to follow a very overcomplicated nutrition program based on the pop culture of the day. This was about 10 years ago. And what this led to was a horrible relationship with food and nutrition. I was tracking everything in order to meet these arbitrary goals that I thought I had to meet for calories and macros, eating times, and calorie cycling, and all these things. These were the nutrition concepts I was told I needed to follow in order to achieve my goals. And I really did think that I had to be perfect with my diet. So I was following these protocols to a T. And then what would happen for a week, I would follow them. And then at the end of the week, I would binge like crazy. I would just overconsume all this food, and I would undo all the things that I did throughout the week following this really strict diet. And that went on for years. Like I said, I developed a horrible relationship with food and a binge eating disorder. And it wasn't until I said fuck it and threw it all out and just followed one basic rule, which was I wanted to eat healthy food, whole food, that made me feel good about my decisions, but I didn't care about calories, I didn't care about macronutrients, and I would allow myself to enjoy less healthy food if I went out for meals at a restaurant with friends or family or romantic partners or what have you. I would still enjoy those areas of life and not beat myself up or feel guilty for doing so, because I selected food based on how I knew it would make me feel, not on how many calories or its macronutrient profile. And the interesting thing about this is that almost instantly my energy went through the roof. I started sleeping better. My anxiety went way down. My depression went way down. I started getting stronger over the next few months and few years. I built way more muscle. I think I went from like 175, 180 pounds to over 200 pounds. And no, it wasn't fat, it was all muscle. I actually got leaner and got heavier at the same time. So I put on 20 pounds of muscle, but I looked better in the mirror. Like I looked leaner than when I was at 180, 175. And so that was my aha moment, that this could be simple, that I could eat food that fueled my goals as well as fueled my enjoyment of life. Like I could actually enjoy the meals that I was eating and not overcomplicate things and feel like I had to adhere to such strict guidelines in order to achieve these goals. Later, after I had been eating this way for some time, out of curiosity, I started putting my food into a tracker to see where my calories were. And my calories were way higher than what they had been when I was down at like 175, 180 and feeling like crap. But I was leaner and I was stronger and I was sleeping better and I put on so much muscle and I was eating way more. My goal was to be strong and lean, and I was completely destroying the outcome of that goal by hyperfixating on these strict guidelines that I had to follow. It wasn't until I released myself from all of those strict guidelines and just looked at an overarching goal of eating healthier and being in tune with the food that I was eating to see how different foods were making me feel and contributing to my sleep and my recovery and my performance and my just overall enjoyment of life. It wasn't until I followed that one North Star that I started to see rapid results. And the same can be said for fitness. How often do you hear people say that you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and you have to do them all right, and you have to do them 6 to 7 days out of the week. You have to follow this program exactly or you won't see the results that you want to see. And the reality is, if you just rid yourself of all of these strict parameters and guidelines and niche marketing tactics that these influencers are selling you in order to sell you on their program, you just follow the basics. It's boring, but it works. The boring basics. If you just follow those things, I guarantee you, not only will you achieve your goals, it'll be more enjoyable, and you can just set it and forget it at the gym so that all the rewards that you get from the gym can actually be enjoyed in all of the other areas of your life that you're going to the gym for in the first place. Like, you don't have a gym membership and you don't go to the gym just to go to the gym. You have a gym membership and go to the gym in order to build the body that gives you confidence and enjoyment in the other areas of your life. If the parameters that you're following to achieve your goals in the gym are completely taken away from all the other areas of your life, like, what's the point in the first place if the overcomplicated method in which you're training is just completely destroying all the other areas of your life, as was happening with me with my nutrition? So achieving your fitness goals is very simple, and it comes down to 3 basic principles. The first one, number one, is consistency, because it doesn't matter if you have the perfect program if you're not following it on a consistent basis. Whatever you decide on, whatever program you're following, the number one thing that matters is consistency with that program. The second pillar of continued success is variability. You can't just follow the same program over and over and over again, or do the same thing over and over and over again and continue to see results. Your body will plateau and you will need to change things up in order to see continued results. So variability has to be intrinsic to the program you design. And the third thing, actually, this might be the most important thing. Consistency is now the second most important thing. The actual most important thing is that the program that you follow, the program that you design, it has to be aligned with the vision that you have for yourself. There's no reason for you to follow a program if the results that you'll get from that program aren't in alignment with the type of person or the person that you want to become. There's no reason for you to follow a powerlifting program if you have no interest in being the strongest version of yourself. You would rather just be really capable and have maybe the body of a soccer player, look athletic, be able to run, be able to lift, heavy, but not over the top, and just have an aesthetically pleasing body. The program that you end up following, the program that you build for yourself, has to be in alignment with your larger vision that you have for yourself. You want to feel like the program that you're following is actually taking you to where you want to end up in the first place. I hear and I see a lot of people follow programs because so-and-so follows this program, but you have to look at so-and-so's goals. Do they have the same vision for themselves that you have for yourself? And if not, maybe that's not the type of program for you. You should look to somebody who represents themselves the way that you would like to represent yourself and figure out what they're doing. You will not see results, I don't care what the program is, unless you remain consistent. So a question you should ask yourself is, are you willing to commit to doing something that is physical demanding of yourself every single day? It doesn't have to be for an hour and a half, but something every single day that is physically demanding of you. Can you commit to that? Yes or no? So the second point we went over is variability. You don't need to reinvent your workout every single week, and you don't need fancy exercises like the ones that you see on Instagram Explorer Reels, but you do need to introduce small but regular progressions into your training in order for you to continue to see results. Adding more weight or more reps reps or increasing the time under tension, what we call tempo training. Those are changes in variability that you can do. So a question to ask yourself would be, are you willing to put in the work to make these changes when you need to make them? Because it does require work. It does require some thoughtful input into the program to know when and how to progress, how to challenge your body in a new way so you continue to see progressions in your physicality. And that third point, train for who you want to become. Ask yourself, what kind of man are you trying to become? Would you like to become very strong like a power lifter? Or do you want to be able to run an ultra marathon or do a triathlon of some sort? Or do you want to be more well-rounded like a CrossFit or a gymnast athlete, something like that? It's important that you ask your question before you even begin to start building your program, because you need to know where you want to end up before you start laying out the groundwork for how to get there. So here are 4 things that I promise you if you follow will get you real results, but you do have to follow these consistently. First is to move every day. You have to find some way of moving every single day, whether that's going out for a walk or going for a bike ride or getting to the gym for your workout, some form of yoga at home. You have to move your body every single day, ideally for at least 30 minutes a day. But you can start small. If 30 minutes a day seems like a mountain right now, just start with 5. The second thing that is going to move the needle for you is lift weights 3 to 4 times a week. Again, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. In our upcoming videos, we're going to talk about what type of exercises you should be using, how to actually program yourself over the coming months and years. It doesn't have to be in a gym, just some form of resistance training. You can do body weight, you can do sprinting, you can do rowing, whatever it is that's going to force you to move under load, you find fun, enjoyable, and will cause you to push your body in some type of resistance training. For most guys, the easiest way to do that is just get to the gym. But if you don't have a gym membership, bodyweight exercises are fine. But 3 to 4 days a week should be your goal. And again, if 3 to 4 days a week seems daunting, you don't have to do an hour and a half every day. Just start with 5 minutes. Still try to get 3 to 4 days a week. Let's say Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But you don't have to commit to an hour and a half. Just commit to 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes Monday and Tuesday, and then again on Thursday and Friday, and you can build off of that. The third pillar is eat like you give a damn, or eat like an adult. I mentioned that I had a really bad relationship with food for a long time, and it's because I was overcomplicating things. But that doesn't mean that you should go from overcomplicating things to just eating junk food all the time either. You want to find the balance. I'm a big believer in the Pareto principle. For any given result that you're after, you can usually get 80% of that result by adhering to the 20% that's going to have the biggest impact. While you can count calories, you can count macros, that's not in that 20%. The 20% for most people is just going to be eating whole foods, something that you could have grown yourself, or something that you could have caught yourself, like fish out of the ocean, or something that you could have shot yourself, like elk or a cow or something, right? If you don't eat meat, that's perfectly fine. I didn't for 15 years. I still built tons of muscle and achieved a body that I was really proud of. So you don't have to eat meat, but what you should be looking to eat that's within that 20% that's going to give you the most impact are whole foods. This used to be a lot easier, but grocery stores are starting to get a little sneaky. There was something called the perimeter diet. So if you think about a grocery store, if you stick to the perimeter, usually the whole foods are on that external perimeter, right? You have the produce section, you have the meat department, you have the eggs and dairy, and then down the aisles are all the processed foods. You have breakfast cereals, you have the candy bars, you have all the things that come in cans and prepackaged. Those are processed foods. So if you want to stick to a whole foods diet, they're typically going to be found on the perimeter. But as I said, grocery stores are getting a little tricky with that. They're starting to put some of the processed foods mixed in with the whole foods that are on the perimeter. So just be wary of that. If you could grow it, if you could catch it, if you could hunt it, or if you could raise it on a farm, that's probably going to be a whole food. And the fourth pillar, the one that's probably talked about the least, is recovery. If you want to build muscle, you don't build muscle in the gym. You actually break down your muscle in the gym, and your muscle builds up or gets bigger and stronger when you're sleeping or when you're resting. That's the time that it actually regenerates itself and becomes better or bigger and stronger. So if you're not managing your stress, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're not taking steps to make sure that you have that time for your body to recover, then you're not going to see the results that you want. And even worse, you're probably going to burn out. And that could be the reason why you give up on a routine altogether. So those are the 4 pillars that I would recommend that you really focus your attention on. These 4 pillars are the 20% that's going to get you the 80% of the results that you're after. So ask yourself, what would happen if over the next year you just focused on mastering these 4 things? How do you think your life might look different 365 days from today if you were to master every one of those pillars. So let's talk about how you can start reclaiming your power by starting today. Here's your first step. I want you to do something today. Now, if you're going to the gym every day, then you got this pretty well figured out. But if you've never gone to the gym, or if you stopped going to the gym and it's something that you want to introduce back into your life, possibly for the first time, my challenge for you right now, and I'd encourage you to do it as soon as this video is over, to do something, doesn't matter what it is, to do something that is physically demanding so that you can tell yourself tonight when you're going to sleep that you did the thing and tomorrow you're going to do it again. So it could be anything. It could be, let's say, 50 air squats. Just get up and do 50 air squats in a row, or do as many push-ups as you can. And that's enough. That's enough to get started. But you need to be able to tell yourself tonight when you're going to sleep that you did something physical, because you're changing the story about who you are. You're someone who challenges yourself physically every single day because you know that's the way to attain the body and the presence and the ability that you're after in your life. If you're thinking right now, oh yeah, I'm fired up, I'm ready to do this thing, but you're like, I'm going to start tomorrow, then no, absolutely not. You are not going to start tomorrow, because that is how this whole mess started in the first place. That old saying, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? That is the reason why so many people live quiet lives of desperation. They put off the thing that they need to do today until tomorrow. But the thing is that tomorrow never comes. When this video is over, I want you to do one thing that is physically demanding of you, that challenges your current level of physical ability, so that you can start this new chapter in your life and become the person that you really truly want to become. I've said this before, no one is coming to save you, right? The only person who can save you is you. So extreme ownership of that reality is necessary if you want to make a change. You have to own the fact that all the decisions that you made leading up to today are what got you here today. But once you do that, the beautiful thing is you can start to take ownership of the decisions that you're now going to make to end up where you want to be in the future. Nobody is coming to save you, so you might as well save yourself, and no program is going to do it for you either. But the good news is that you already have everything that you need right now. I've used this quote so many times before from Martin Luther King, which is, you don't need to see the whole staircase, you just need to take the first step. Start where you are today with what you can do today, knowing that tomorrow you'll be capable of more. You'll know more, and you'll figure out along the way with videos like this and other avenues of information that don't overcomplicate things and put the power back in your hands rather than taking it from you. You will progress to this larger version. So what is the biggest lie that you have believed up until this point about fitness? I'd love if you left that in a comment below this video. If this has shifted your perception a little bit, I'd love to hear how, and I'd love if you shared this video with someone who you feel could also benefit from that shift in mindset. So thanks for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate it. I love reading your comments. I really appreciate it if you left this video a like, and I will be making more videos in this series on how to build your own program. So make sure that you click subscribe to get those. And I'll see you in the next video where we start to build the actual program itself. Until then.